You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Today we again dig deep into the critical legal arguments presented by attorney Jennifer Bonjean during the New York appeal hearing in defense of R. Kelly. A particular focus will be on the inappropriately applied RICO charges and the flawed reasoning demonstrated by one of the appellate judges who attempted to dismiss Bonjean's argument. We will dissect the legal inconsistencies that have plagued this case and why the RICO charges should ultimately be overturned. During the New York appeal hearing, attorney Jennifer Bonjean made a compelling argument against the application of RICO charges in R. Kelly's case. She pointed out that the fundamental principles of RICO law were misapplied, as the government failed to prove that the so-called enterprise functioned with a common criminal purpose. Despite her well-supported assertions, one of the appellate judges immediately sought to undermine her position, suggesting that she was not actually in disagreement with the jury instructions. According to him, the jury was only required to establish the existence of an enterprise, whether legal or illegal.
Simply speaking, a RICO enterprise is a criminal organization. You can define it broadly, but is not an organization simply with a criminal. And that is what the government is asking the court to find here. I believe my time has expired.
But I mean, you're not challenging the jury instructions, so you're agreeing that everything the district court told the jury they needed to find was correct, right?
Your Honor, the jury instructions were consistent with every jury instruction ever given in a RICO case, historically. And frankly, is consistent with what the United States Supreme Court held in Boyle.
This perspective, however, is a misinterpretation of how RICO law is intended to function. While it is true that the existence of an enterprise must be proven, that alone does not qualify it for RICO status. The law explicitly requires proof that the enterprise operated with a common criminal purpose. Simply put, an enterprise without a shared intent to commit crimes does not meet the legal threshold for a RICO violation. The judge's assertion overlooks a crucial distinction. Separating the proof of an enterprise from the proof of its criminal purpose does not mean that an enterprise devoid of an overarching criminal goal can still be prosecuted under RICO. The jury instructions in R. Kelly's case may have suggested otherwise, but this misalignment with legal precedent is precisely what Bonjean was challenging. Bonjean meticulously referenced past cases where courts threw out RICO charges due to the lack of a common criminal purpose. In each of these cases, the courts held that merely proving an enterprise existed was insufficient. Prosecutors had to demonstrate that the enterprise itself was fundamentally rooted in criminal activity, a standard that was not met in R. Kelly's case. The very same jury instruction format used in those past cases was applied in Kelly's trial. However, unlike the previous rulings where RICO charges were dismissed due to a lack of criminal commonality, the court inexplicably allowed the charges against Kelly to stand. This discrepancy highlights a troubling double standard in the application of the law. To fully understand why Bonjean's argument holds weight, it is necessary to break down the specific elements required for a RICO conviction. The statute requires the following key components. First, the existence of an enterprise. An enterprise can be a legal or illegal entity, but its structure alone does not satisfy the RICO standard. Next is a pattern of racketeering activity. Prosecutors must prove a series of criminal acts that demonstrate an ongoing criminal purpose. The very important is the common criminal objective. This enterprise must be engaged in illegal activity as its core function, not merely have an individual within it who committed crimes separately. Applying these requirements to R. Kelly's case, it becomes clear that the prosecution stretched the definition of an enterprise to implicate him under RICO. The supposed enterprise consisted of employees, assistants and associates whose roles were largely administrative or professional. There was no established proof that they worked together with a common criminal intent. The inconsistent treatment of Kelly's case raises significant legal and ethical concerns. The law must be applied uniformly, regardless of the defendant's identity or the nature of the accusations. By treating Kelly's case differently from similar past cases, the judicial system is setting a dangerous precedent. One that erodes the principle of equal justice under the law. The proper application of RICO law requires that the prosecution establish more than just an enterprise. They must also prove that this enterprise functioned with the common goal of engaging in illegal activities. In Kelly's case, the government failed to meet this burden. Instead, they sought to stretch the definition of an enterprise beyond its legal limits to secure a conviction. A closer look at the jury instructions further reveals the flawed foundation of the RICO conviction. Jury instructions in any criminal case are crucial because they guide jurors on the exact legal standards they must apply when determining a defendant's guilt. In past cases that Bonjean referenced, courts ruled that similar instructions were too vague, ultimately leading to cases being dismissed on the RICO basis and/or charged differently. The jury must be explicitly told that proving an enterprise's existence does not automatically meet the RICO standard. Criminal intent must be present. In Kelly's case, perhaps the jury was not properly instructed on this key point, leaving room for a broad and legally questionable interpretation of the RICO statute. This alone should be enough to grant a reversal on appeal. Given the inconsistencies in how RICO law has been applied, there is a strong argument that the charges against Kelly should be dismissed outright. The flawed reasoning presented by the appellate judge attempting to divorce the enterprise element from the criminal intent requirement demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of RICO statutes. Bonjean's argument is not merely a technicality. It is a substantive legal challenge that, if properly considered, should result in the overturning of these charges. Courts have an obligation to uphold the law fairly and consistently. If previous cases were dismissed due to a lack of a common criminal purpose within the enterprise, there is no legitimate reason why Kelly's case should be treated differently. As the appeal process continues, therefore, it is imperative that the judicial system adheres to the principles of fairness and legal consistency. Jennifer Bonjean has made a strong case for why the RICO charges were misapplied, and the appellate court must seriously consider the implications of upholding a conviction that does not align with established legal standards. The law is not meant to be selectively applied. It is a framework designed to ensure justice, and in this instance, justice demands that the RICO charges against R. Kelly be overturned. Whether one supports or opposes Kelly personally is irrelevant. What matters is that the law is upheld correctly, free from bias or external influence. We will continue to monitor the developments in this case and bring you updates as they unfold. Thank you for always tuning in to HN Newsroom, and stay informed as we seek to uphold the integrity of our legal system. If you want to be featured in our video releases, send us your clips by emailing them to hnnewsroom242@gmail.com or use Google Drive for larger files. Be sure to include your name and any details you'd like us to know. We can't wait to showcase your contributions. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.